getting a rest on the bench. Good individual effort a moment ago. Started into the hockey game with 2 goals and 5 assists, leading Team USA.
Team USA very close to taking the lead. The puck bounced around in the goal mouth and cleared out by the Finns. Here's Jari Kurri across the line. Centers just out of the reach of Tikkanen. Well, the Finns do have some speed, don't they? Especially this forward line.
Do they ever?
Tikkanen, Kurri, and Yodiganen. Here's Chelios. And Olchuk puts it back in the net for Gary Suter. Suter checking his options. Goes to the right side to LaFontaine. Slipped around one check. Comes across the blue line. Pulls up. Tries to make the play. Got it too, but it was bouncing away from Olchuk at the time. Now at the right point. Chelios unloads. That went wide of the net. Suter at the opposite point. Centered one. Off the skates of Olchuk. Tikkanen failed in his effort to clear it out originally, and now Rutinen carries it through center ice. Gets over the line. He lost it, and that put the play offside.
Very explosive Finnish team. You can see why the record is so good in the Canada Cup. 2 wins, a loss, and a tie. Well, they haven't scored a lot of goals, Jakes. 7. They've made the ones that they have scored count. I should say 8 now because of the one here tonight. Team USA with a close call. Watch the puck squirt out from behind the glove. Reaching for it, Tammy. He needs help. He gets some. That number 2 is Teppo Numminen, who has had a strong game so far for Team Finland.
Now Kevin Hatcher plays the puck into the Finnish end of the ice. Jyrki Lumme back for it. A bump. Team USA. Kevin Miller left it in the corner for Joel Otto. Otto is checked. Now he has the puck in turn as Brown came in to help out. Otto centers one across. Doug Brown turns neatly on the defenseman Lokinen, but Lokinen comes away with the puck. Lokinen to center ice. Lets to shoot it in. Solani, number 8. Oh, hard hit there in a collision with Jimmy Johnson. The puck underneath Johnson, and there's no further play. The Finnish player on that race, Solani, was regarded by many as equal to Jari Kurri. In Finnish hockey now, this is the 1991 Labatt Canada Cup. Chicago, the United States, and Finland tied 1-1. The Finns, remember, in their opening game of the 1991 Labatt Canada Cup, played a 2-2 tie with Canada. Then in their next game, they recorded their very first win ever in Canada Cup play. That was the 1-0 win over Czechoslovakia. Goal coming in the final minute of play out at Saskatoon. Here it's U.S. moving in with a drive. Tammy way out of the net. The shot well wide, and a delayed penalty call coming against the Finns. Rodick will set up the play at center ice. Eastbrook is on the U.S. bench. They have the extra man out. Janney sets the play from back of the goal. Leach cuts to the right wing boards. Coming up the left is Badano. That's Leach. Dropped it back. Janney to Rodick. Now they're over the line. Rodick slaps it around the boards. Badano waits for it. Mike Badano can't get through the traffic, and the penalty call will be made by referee Bill McCreary. It'll be a holding penalty.
Team USA with some more pressure, forcing the Finns back into their own end, taking penalties. Penalty this time. Peltoma draws a holding penalty. Interesting, too, to point out that the 2 goals scored, Jigs, in this hockey game came when teams had 4 skaters apiece. And 2 of the players in this hockey game, Tikkanen and Jari Kurri, playing with the Edmonton Oilers, responsible for some of the changes of rules that deleted that particular part of hockey from the NHL.
Yeah, exactly so. They do like more ice. Peltoma gets the gate for a holding at 13:11 of the opening period. Peltoma's Los Angeles Kings draft pick. Kings came in the 9th round of the 1988 entry draft. Mike Badano leads the U.S. across the line on the power play. Got it in along the boards. Ronick from back of the net. Off the boards, back to Leach. Badano looked toward Chelios, then gave him the puck. Chris Chelios up the slot. His shot is steered up into the seats. A minute and a half remaining in the penalty against the Finnish player. At Chicago Stadium, Team USA has a power play as we welcome our audience across Canada on CTV. Team USA scored first on a goal by Craig Janney at the 8:05 mark, and then Petri Skriko came back 12 seconds later to tie it up for Team Finland, while both teams were playing 4 aside.
entertaining game. Both teams come out skating. Team USA initiated the hitting process in the hockey game.
On the power play, it's Jeremy Roenick of the Chicago Blackhawks at center ice. Brett Hull of the St. Louis Blues on left wing, and Mike Modano of the Minnesota Stars on the right side. The point made up of Brian Leetch of the Rangers on the left and Chris Chelios of the Chicago Blackhawks on the right. John Van Beesbroek is in goal tonight, by the way, for Team USA. This is Jeremy Roenick. Slipped it in around Jari Kurri. Roenick to the far side for Modano. Nice move. Couple of them, and then finally it's broken up by Teppo Numminen. Winnipeg Jet defenseman gives it to Jari Kurri, and the Finns have cleared the zone. Each will go back with 56 seconds remaining in Peltoma's penalty. Brian Leetch up ahead now to Ed Olchuk, who has just come out. Olchuk joins Janney, and Brett Hull, the point man, controls it here. Chelios cross ice to Brian Leetch. He wheels it cross ice, only to have it steered over the glass. Bringing about a whistle with 5.5 minutes to play in the opening period.
A lot of people sitting in the seats thinking that Brian Leetch should let it go, let fire the puck at the net. He was in a pretty good spot.
Brian Leetch back at the bench as Coach Tim Taylor sends out Suter and Hatcher. Leetch and Granato talking, and Tim Taylor directs his troops. Olchuk on the left. Now LaFontaine will go to the middle. Tim Taylor
Seems to be a little more relaxed when you talk to him around the dressing room now, Jigs, after having these games now, most of them behind him.
continues to communicate on a daily basis with Bob Johnson, Dillon Mercy Hospital in Pittsburgh, Team USA coach, also the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Talked with his son Peter today, Ed, and he says his dad's doing real great. Got a great night's sleep after the victory over the Soviets here on Saturday night. So the best sleep he's had.
That's important when you're trying to recover from such a serious operation.
Now 16 seconds remaining in Peltoma's penalty. Suter carries the puck into center with a feed to Janney. Across the line. Here's LaFontaine right in. Oh, it's knocked off the stick by Tammy.
What a beautiful poke check by the goaltender as Eddie Olchuk takes a whack.
Peltoma is out of the penalty box. Team USA controls the puck. Suter's pass went to Hatcher. There's some traffic and then shot it wide, and Tammy steers it aside, hitting on the stick of Buchanan, and down the ice it goes. Wide of John Van Beesbroek, and the icing call is made with 4.5 minutes remaining in the first period. The score is tied 1-1. This is the 1991 Labatt Canada Cup. Getting set for a face-off from the Finnish end of the ice. Joel Otto comes in to take the draw. Kirkinen on the face-off. It's won by the U.S. The puck skipped up on Tammy. They score!
The towering presence of Joel Otto in front of the net. The Finnish defenseman did not tie him up. He won the face-off to get things started for his team and finished it off by scoring his second goal of the Canada Cup. There's the rebound. Otto waves at it once, and on the second attempt, he gets it in behind Tammy, and it's a 2-1 U.S. lead.
Goal at the 15:30 mark of the opening period. Right back in. There's Otto. He scores!
Known mostly for his defensive work, he applies the offense beautifully here. He takes the pass from behind the net and fires it in. Look at Joel Otto, the Calgary Flames. Back-to-back goals for the tall center iceman who can play defensively but can add a lot of offense as well.
11 seconds apart, would you believe? Craig Janney and Petri Skriko scored earlier. Those goals were 12 seconds apart. Now Otto with a pair separated by 11 ticks of the clock. And USA has the Finns back in again, but now up they come. Teppo Numminen. Jari Kurri. Really can't get it back to Numminen. Tony Granato Granado's pass to Roenick is deflected. Run over the line by Modano, but it's offside. He gloved it out of the air, got it to the stick, but not before Roenick had been able to clear the zone.
It's a kind of a play, Jigs, that you just want to gamble in the fact that it may not be offside. If it's not offside, you go straight to the net and you've got to play.
Here's the way the game has gone. Greg Janney, Skriko to tie it, and Otto with a pair, 11 seconds apart. The USA is out shooting Finland by a margin of 12-3. 3-1 is the score. Finnish player, Janen, has been knocked down at the blue line. Now the Finns trying to come out of the zone. Only to be turned back. Roenick on the right side. And Modano has Granado set up. Gives the puck to Roenick instead. Jeremy Roenick shoots. Blocked in front. Granado got a poke at it and it went wide of the net. Janen bumps Granado. And Granado recovers the puck. Numminen gets to it for the Finns. Numminen. Janen with a pass to Curry. It bounced off linesman Ray Scapadello and a shot right back out by Leach. Miller. But Brett Hull. Janney heads to the front of the net. Hull can't slip it to him as Janney was all by himself. The Finns failed to pick him up. Now across the line is Petri Skriko. Skriko now with the Boston Bruins. For many seasons with Vancouver. Centering this line with Ruutu and Solani. The Finns back in after the puck. Luukkonen gets it right back to Lume. Goes up the far side. Here comes Petri Skriko. Through center ice. Across the U.S. blue line as he cuts to right wing. Giving it to Ruutu to the backhand, to the forehand, and then the shot off the side of the net came from Skriko. Weinrich for Team USA. Greg Wolanin plays it through center ice. It's tipped inside the Finnish zone and recovered by Luukkonen. Then from back of the net. To the left side. Skriko able to clear the zone, and Ruutu forces Team USA to go back with 2 minutes remaining in the opening period. Weinrich with an outlet. And around the boards in the Finnish zone by Kevin Hatcher. Turkinen takes it here. Pekka Turkinen. Peltonen. He comes through center ice, only to be met by Pat LaFontaine, then pulled it away from the New York Islander forward. Ryan Leach knocked the puck loose. Olchuk couldn't recover it, and the Finns trying to get something set up inside the U.S. zone. Zubinin is taken to the ice by Olchuk. And Hatcher clears the puck through the skates of Perry Eloranta. Eloranta, 35 years of age now, gave it to Billy Siren. Siren has it again. Once more, Billy Siren handles it with a pass to Eloranta. Siren just did get it away from the forechecking of the U.S. Now the Finns through center. Across the line, chased to the left side was Raimo Suminen. He's trying to dump it in once more from the line. It's brought up by Brian Leach. Leach running it around Hira. Hira, number 3, is met solidly by Joel Otto. Kirkinen turns the puck over. Only Granado got it to the line for Suter. His low shot scooped up and held by Ilkka Hämi. Here's what's happened in the game at Chicago. Janney scored at the 8:05 mark, his 4th goal of this tournament. Then Skriko replied. Lume and Ruutu assisting. Then you see Mullen and Wolanin assisting on Otto's first of the pair, just 11 seconds apart.
Team USA would appear right now in the first period as it winds down with 42 seconds to have things pretty well in hand, Jigs. They seem to be playing just well enough to win. They put on spurts. They control the play. They have the Finns running around in their own end of the ice. One of the things that Team Finland is going to have to do better, that's cover in front of their own net.
Yeah, they've missed a lot of assignments, haven't they?
You watch players stand there and get 1 and 2 shots away at the goaltender before someone decides to try and check them. They're stick checking instead of using the body and moving them out.
John Van Beesbrook has faced only 3 shots on goal. Out of the net to play the puck around the boards. 15 seconds remaining in the opening period. Burrow bumped here by Doug Brown. Moving up with it, Tequila. Finds the left side. This is Jarvi. And his effort to get it back to the point pin goes astray. And here's the horn. Jim Taylor's team in pretty good shape through that first period.
Has to be satisfied with the way the team started and the way they finished the period. They started a first shift with a couple of good, strong hits.
And after one period at Chicago Stadium, Team USA has a 3-1 lead over Team Finland. A tune-up perhaps for a semifinal game later this week. It would appear that way. From Chicago, this is the 1991 Labatt Canada Cup.